channel. I'm Maria, aka Agape Love Girl. Thank you so much for joining me today. Well, today I'm going to be sharing a first impressions and demo tutorial review of the Urban Decay times Kristen Leanne Collection. I'm actually going to be breaking this video up into 3 different videos. It will end up being 4, but today I'm filming 3 of them, and later on I will film a separate video because this collection does include 4 different items sets. So I'm just gonna, rather than do everything, demos, reviews, first impressions all in one video that's super long, I'm gonna split them up so you can watch which one you would prefer to learn the most about, and that way we can keep them a little bit quicker, more condensed, and hopefully a lot more helpful to you guys. Now, you're probably going to see this part of the video in every single one of my videos. You can go ahead and skip forward. I'll put a little timestamp on the screen somewhere for you guys to skip forward to the product I'm going to be talking about in this specific video. So the Urban Decay and Kristen Leanne Collection, as I mentioned, includes 4 different items, and it was gifted to me from Urban Decay Cosmetics. Thank you so much to Urban Decay Cosmetics for this gift. I love receiving their awesome packages, and it did come like this. It looks really awesome. This is like super huge, taking up the whole screen here, and this little bit comes off like this. It looks super neat. It's a really beautiful looking collection, and I'm just going to go ahead and give you a quick brief overview in this introduction of the collection and leave it at that, and we'll go more in depth of each individual item in each separate video. So in this collection there is the Kaleidoscope Dream eyeshadow palette, which features 11 vibrant shades, and this one retails for $39. The next item in this collection is the Beauty Beam highlighting palette. This is a trio of 3 different highlighters. You get a soft rose gold, a white gold, and a warm golden highlighter shade. Then there are the Vice lipsticks. There are 3 shades in the Kristen collection, and each of them are $17. Then there's also the Daydream eyeshadow palette, which is $26. And this is a 5-pan palette that is all matte shades. Now, there are also exclusive products in this collection that I actually did not receive, so I won't have those to show you, but I can show you pictures of them that I have here in my info. And these are only available at freestanding Urban Decay stores where you can physically go in them, and on urbandecay.com, with the exception of one of them actually being an Ulta and Urban Decay exclusive, and that is the Vice Liquid Lipstick Duo, which is $29, as you can see in the picture here. And then the other one is a single Vice Liquid lipstick that's kind of a gray tone, and then a single eyeshadow. So the single lipstick and the single eyeshadow are available only at urbandecay.com or in their stores, and the liquid lipstick duo is available at Ulta or in Urban Decay. So those are the exclusives, and that is the info I have on those. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be doing a first impressions review and demo tutorial of the Daydream palette, which is the 5-pan matte palette. Now, first up, the packaging is super adorable. I really like how they have the hearts on it. You guys know me, know I love hearts. I'm wearing my heart necklace today. I love hearts. I love how they kind of did this like neon lights kind of vibey thing with the packaging. The packaging is this plastic. It's very pretty. It's pink. It does have info and shows the shades on the back of this plastic piece, so that stays like that on the packaging. And then the palette itself is super adorable. It looks like frosting all over it. And then the inside is really beautiful. It's got this floral print in here. I like the color scheme, the pink and the mint. I think it's super pretty. It does come with a brush that is fairly unique type of brush. I think I remember hearing Kristen say she designed this brush specifically for this palette, and as well as the other brush in the other palette, for her preference of a brush and how she uses brushes. So I do use this in the tutorial, and I think it's a nice brush. It's not necessarily my preference of a type of brush, but I did want to use it in the tutorial on this look, just to get a feel for it. It's a very nice brush, very soft, very usable, something I'd have to more get used to, because like I said, it's not what I'm used to using for a brush, but I mean, it got the job done. I created this look using mostly just this brush. Now you do get 5 matte shades in this palette, and it is a fairly, or not even fairly, well, 8 is a little bit cool tone, so I guess you would say it is a fairly warm toned palette, and those are my favorites, so I have no gripes about this. When I first saw this palette, the sneak peek of this palette, I instantly was drawn to it, instantly thought it was beautiful. These shades are kind of, like I said, right up my alley. I love those warm tones. Specifically, the one that called my name the most was 1212, which I guess is Kristen's birthday, so that's super neat that she put that in there. And then I really like number 8 as well, which she said she named because 8 is her favorite number, and it's kind of funny because 8 is my favorite number as well, because that is my birthday. My birthday is 8/8. So I thought that was kind of interesting. You don't hear 8 being someone's favorite number very often, so I just found that very intriguing. These shadows are pretty soft, very blendable. I wouldn't say the pigmentation is like insane. It's not lacking. Obviously you can see my look and it's pretty pigmented, but I'd say this isn't like, if you're a beginner, this shouldn't be super scary or hard to work with, like so pigmented that you like don't know what to do with yourself. So I do think this is a very beginner friendly palette, a very nice palette for anybody who doesn't do outrageous over the top makeup looks, someone who just wants a cute little palette with your everyday basics to kind of wear. I feel like this pairs a lot really well with their Naked Basics palettes that they have. Just like a simple everyday kind of go-to palette that's really, really beautiful. On the note of comparing them to the Naked Basics, I will say that I feel like the formula on these is a little bit better. They are, and I love the Naked Basics, don't get me wrong, but they're much more of a harder eyeshadow, and I don't want to call them chalky because they're not at all, but I feel like in comparison to that, they almost seem chalky. Like these ones are a lot creamier, I'd say, and a lot softer. I did note this in my tutorial as I was doing it. When I was dipping into the palette, there is some kick up. It is much more softer than the Naked Basics matte shadows. And I love Urban Decay matte shadows, no complaints about them, but these definitely feel like they're a little bit softer, a little bit just creamier. I don't know, softer, I don't know how to explain it, but they are very, very nice, a very nice formula, so I do like that. Overall, I think this is a beautiful palette. I think that the shadows work well, they blend well, they're very easy to use, very beginner friendly, and pretty much no matter where you are in your makeup journey, I think you'll be able to use and appreciate these. And if you love mattes, you're gonna enjoy this palette. So I don't want to ramble on too much longer. I am gonna go ahead and get into the tutorial, and at some point, probably after the tutorial, I am also going to include some brush swatches on my arm just so you can see each of the shadows on their own and how they perform using a brush, and it, you know, something separate from just an eye tutorial if you want, you know, you're interested in seeing that, and kind of a breakdown of each of the shadows on their own. So I just wanted to keep that in mind, that I have more than just the eye tutorial coming up. I will have that to look forward to as well, and I'm gonna go ahead and put timestamps in the description box so you can go down there and click to wherever part of this video that you are the most interested in. So with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the tutorial. Okay, so I'm going to start off with the shade 1212. It's the one that's calling my name the most. It's just so pretty and intriguing. And I'm going to take that with a fluffy blending brush and take that right into my crease. Next, I'm going to go into the shade 8, and I'm going to be using the brush that came with this palette. I'm going to be taking the side that has the kind of dome tapered, almost like a fluffy pencil brush type of shape. I don't know how to describe it, but that's the one I'm going to be using. And I'm just going to be applying that shade to the inner and outer kind of corners of my eye. I'm going to be going for a halo eye look here, so this will be the start of that. I I just want to note real quick that I am getting a little bit of kick up when I'm using these shadows. I'm not swirling crazy. I'm kind of just dabbing and patting, and I am getting some kick up. So these are soft shadows, not as soft as say Modern Renaissance or Subculture from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but there is some kick up. This doesn't bother me at all, but I just wanted to note that for anybody curious about that kind of thing. Then just going back in with a fluffy blending brush, I'm just going to blend the crease out a little bit more to really diffuse and blend those shades together. Now just grabbing the brush from the palette again, using the other side, I'm going to go into the shade Lucky, and that's what I'm going to be applying to the center of my lid. Taking the other side of the brush to blend the outer corners in with the center. Now with the flat definer brush, I'm going to take the shade 8 to my lower lash line. And for the sake of using as many shadows from this palette as I can, I'm going to go ahead and blend out my lower lash line with the shade Daydream. And I am going to be using the brush that came in the palette again, that fluffy pencil brush side. Okay, so that's pretty light, so I'm going to go ahead and just use the last shade I haven't used yet, Subscribe, and just also blend that into my lower lash line. Might as well go all in with it. Okay, so here are my eyes up close with just the shadows. I want you guys to see how these look after having applied them and creating this look alone as they were with just the palette. But I do feel like this look is missing something. That center shade is just a little bit too stark white, a little bit too matte for this look that I kind of feel like I'm going for. So I do feel like I need a little bit of sparkle, a little bit of shimmer, a little bit of something. I know that I definitely could add a little bit of the highlight from the highlight palette in this collection, which I do have on my inner corners and my brow bone on my eyes, but I think I just needed something a little bit more, so I am going to go ahead and just grab a glitter liner from Urban Decay. This is the shade Pyro, and I'm just going to go ahead and add that over top that center shade on my lid right now. Now I am going to be applying lashes to this look, but I just want to show you guys how this looks with just mascara for those of you who don't do lashes, and you can get a feel for how this looks with natural lashes. I still think it looks just as beautiful, but I love my lashes, so I'm going to go ahead and apply my favorites from Pure Cosmetics in the style Bombshell. Alright, and that completes this makeup look and tutorial. I really hope you guys enjoyed this look. I really kind of just wanted to factor in and use as many of the shadows as I could, so yeah, I had to do that, used all 5 of them, just so you could see how they perform on the eyes, and I'm pretty happy with how this look turned out, so hope you guys liked it too. Now don't forget to stay tuned for the brush swatches. Now I did not use an eyeshadow primer for my eye tutorial, so I am going to go ahead and use an eyeshadow primer for these brush swatches here. I am going to go ahead and use an Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. This is their primer potion, as you can see, and I'm just going to do all of this right on camera for you guys to see. And I think what I'm going to do is swatch all of the shades using the brush that comes in the palette, and I'm going to use both brush ends just so you can get a really good idea about how these shadows apply with both brushes. I'm going to go ahead and start off with Lucy, and this is described as an ivory matte. Definitely looks like you get a lot more coverage with the fluffy side of the brush, more so than the dense side of the brush. Next is the shade Daydream, and this is described as a soft nude. Next is the shade 1212, which is described as a soft peach. The shade Subscribe is a warm nude. I'm just going to add a little bit more primer this way because I don't think I brought the primer that far. Lastly is the shade 8, which is described as a rich, warm brown. This one might look a little bit choppy just because I probably did not let the primer dry as long as I did the other. So I'm just going to go ahead and do another swatch over it real quick. Alright, and there are the brush swatches. It's pretty interesting to me that the fluffy side of the brush, the more blending I would use as a blending kind of side of the brush, did apply a more concentrated, more opaque coverage than the dense kind of shader packer side of the brush. So very, very interesting. And you may have already noticed when I was doing the swatches, some of it I did blow off as I was doing the swatches, but here's what the palette looks like after having done those swatches really quick. You can see some of the kick up around here and how soft the shadows are. Even if I don't go into them too heavy-handed, they do kick up a lot of product. It's nothing awful, like I mentioned earlier. It's not like Anastasia Beverly Hills, but these are softer shadows, and I actually do like that. I find them to be very easy to blend and easy to work with, but they will kick up some shadow and make a little bit of a mess, and I just figured that is something that is worth noting for those of you who either have issues with that or just like to know that kind of thing. Again, it's not something that bothers me, but it is something worth noting. Okay, and really quickly I just wanted to show this. This is what my arm looks like after rubbing the shadows. I wasn't going to show this on film, but after I rubbed them I was like, oh, I might as well show this. I believe Jen of Jen Loves Reviews does this in her eyeshadow reviews and swatches and things to kind of show how the wear would be. And so obviously there is some fading, but they do have some really great staying power. Of course, that eyeshadow primer helps a bit, I'm sure, but here's what they look like after kind of being rubbed away. Alright, beauty babes, and that is it for my first impressions review and tutorial slash demo using the brand new Kristen Leanne DayDream palette. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, leave a comment letting me know your thoughts if you're going to get this palette and what you think about it. And don't forget to stay tuned for my next couple of videos that will feature the other items in this collection. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, much love and hugs to you. Bye, beauty babes!